having success in music isn't based on music, at least anymore. You see, back in the day, everything was based on having talent. You would make it as an artist. All you needed was talent. And this has been like that basically since, the dawn of human time, right? If you made good music or decent music, someone would discover you or you would just blow up. But we're in an interesting time right now because everybody thinks they could do music. And because AI is now doing music, the average person is flooded with so many songs. So when you say that you want to make it in music as we're in 2026 and you're saying, I got this new EP, I got this album and it's really, really dope. And I think I'm going to make it because how good this music is. I think that that's the wrong mindset to have within 2026 because anything that you think is great or talented, you can now put into Suno or some AI software and then duplicate the talent. So in this world, of this modern world that we live in, the artist who builds the personal brand is the one that's going to win, not the artist that has the best music. Because the past, let's say 5 to 6 years, majority of the artists who are platinum, their music doesn't even sound that good. I mean, I'm pretty sure you would agree. Everybody agrees. Most successful artists who are millionaires, they just make microwavable music. That's why it doesn't stick to you. That's why it doesn't speak to you. And that's why it doesn't have replay value, which is why in 90 days you don't think about it and you're just on to the next record. So when you're saying like, I'm going to make it with good music, just think about the logic. Everybody who's making it and millionaires who surpassed you, they've made it with bad music. So that shows you that it takes more than music to make it in music. It's a saying that I always say. But the truth is, as an artist, if you want to have success, you have to build a personal brand. That's the biggest thing. A couple of years ago, you kind of started hearing about it. Oh, post more content. And then you could say, back then you could say, no, I'm just going to focus on music. I ain't really trying to post on content. I ain't trying to show my life. I'm private. I just like to make the music and that's it. I would agree to you because I'm an introvert, so I'm that way as well. But now, if you want to have a successful career in music, part of your duty is to create content and build a personal brand. Those days of just hiding behind your music and making great songs in the studio, those days are over. Because think about who you're serving. The person that you're serving, which is quote unquote the fan, well, the actual fan, they're the ones who control the market. So if the market, which is the fans, say, we want to hear you on a podcast, we want to feel like we're part of your journey, we want to see more and know more about you, well, then you got to play the game. You see what I'm saying? So again, think about who you're serving. The average person who is quote unquote your fan base, they're bombarded with 400,000 songs uploaded every single day. They're so bombarded that now they just want a real connection. So you have to post. If you don't post, you become a ghost. Now, I'm not telling you to sell your soul to an algorithm. I'm not telling you to act like a fucking kid and dance around in front of a ring light and stuff a bunch of marshmallows in your mouth and do a crate challenge or some shit. I'm not telling you to act like an adolescent and do stupid shit for attention so people could click the link in your bio. That's not what I'm telling you, because that's what most people think who hate posting on social media. But I am telling you that we are in an attention era. We are in a branding era, the personal brand. And the artist that wins in 2026 is the artist that focuses more on their brand than they do the music. So if your 2026 goal was, I'm going to create and put out more music, I think that's the wrong goal. I think that you should focus less on music and more on business and branding. Business and branding are the two, the B and the B, the business and branding. That the artist that focuses on business and branding is the artist that's going to win. not the artist that focuses on music. Because focusing solely on music is an arms race to the bottom. Because you're battling kids that do music, you're battling every stripper that does music, you're battling AI that does music. It's an arms race to the bottom. Because again, any talent that God gave you can now be put in AI and duplicated. So how much does it matter? Does this make sense? Right? So now let's get back to personal branding and posting. You may say, okay, all right, KE, but what do I don't want to post. I like my life. I like it to be private. I don't want people in my business. I don't want people to know what I'm doing. I don't want to share my life like that. It's none of their business. I just want to give them music. Okay, so if you think like that, let me address this. Let me say it this way. If you posting a 30-second video defines 24 hours of your life, then you don't have a life. If you posting 2 60-second videos, if you posting 2 60-second reels, 3 reels, 5 reels that are 30 to 60 seconds apiece, if that defines your whole 24-hour personal life, then you have no life and you need to get one. Do you see what I'm saying? I post all the time on my social media, but you don't know. I'm not sharing my life. I'm not sharing my kids. I'm not sharing my you know what I'm saying? So that's a crazy mindset by saying, "Hey, I want to keep my personal life personal." Well, how dude? If you can't stand behind a white wall and just do a video or talk about something, if that is called exposing your whole life, then you don't have a life. If you go into the studio and just, re-record, showing how you record your music, or, re-ad-libbing your music so they can hear what you just recorded, if that is an exposure of your life, then you're not living, right? So if you don't post, you go ghost. You don't control the market, you just control your music. You have no control over the market. The market is now saying, we want to connect with an artist. You don't control the market. So you can't say, hey, market, I don't want to give you and show you who I am. I'm just going to provide you good music. Well, you're not going to make it in music if you think like that. And I get it. I blew up in 2009 with Swag Surfing, where we just needed good music. Then it led into the mixtape era. Whereas my mixtapes, live mixtapes, my mixtapes, Dat Piff, you know what I mean? And all you needed was good music. So I come from the era where if you don't have good music, the streets ain't gonna get behind you. The people on the ground level ain't gonna get behind you. There's no label that's gonna discover you. Nobody wants to invest into you. I get it. I come from that. But I'm not an idiot either. Once you stop learning and adapting, I mean, you're pretty much dying to me. A man and woman, their age is not based on numbers. It's based on adaptability. The minute you stop adapting to modern times, you're just old, right? So I know 21-year-olds that don't know how to use a laptop. They're old to me. And I have people like my mother, who's 70 years old, who's currently, right now as I shoot this video, learning Facebook ads. She's young. See what I'm saying? So a lot of artists, they've gotten caught up still in the old model, which is go to the studio, find a beat, find a producer, find a tight beat on YouTube, you write to it and record to it, then you upload it on DistroKid, United Masters, CD Baby, TuneCore. That way it goes to all the DSPs. And then after that, you upload some type of picture on your social media or some type of music, or some type of video letting people know that your music's out. You may shoot a music video, upload it on YouTube. So it's the upload and cross your fingers game. That used to work like a long time ago. Record music, upload it on all the platforms, shoot a music video, maybe post one piece of content or the same EP, album, or single cover over and over, letting people know it's out now. cross your fingers, say a prayer, hopefully people see it. Like, that's not the game. That's not the move anymore. And you're going to lose to a trash artist who handles their business and builds their personal brand, because you already are right now. It's funny because it seems like the best artists in the world are the ones that never get discovered. The reason why they're the best is because they spend hours in the studio making music. But the reason why they never make it is because they never handle their business. But then the trash artists, the reason why they're trash is because they never go to the studio. But the reason why they made it is because trash artists always handle their business. Good artists never get discovered and die a local talent. So I don't just want you to have good music. I want you to have good business so you can make it in the music business. Does that make sense? Because one thing that you don't want to do, and I see this all the time, you don't want to be so talented that your talent is actually holding you back from progressing or making it in music. When I meet artists that are extremely talented, it sometimes to me is the most dangerous thing in the world, because they usually start getting an ego about themselves because they know that they could sing, or they know that they could rap, and they know that they could freestyle. They know that they're better than most artists they meet. But once they get the chip on the shoulder and the ego, it prevents them from learning business and marketing. And they think that they're just going to get discovered by their talent because they're more talented than most artists they meet. And everybody always praises them through comments and in real life saying, man, I love your voice. You got a God-given talent. Wow, man, you're a lyrical. And you get those compliments over and over, and it starts building your ego. Then when it's time to actually go do the work, learn Facebook ads, learn how to set up some type of funnel so you can collect your fans' emails, right? Learning marketing campaigns. Now you're too good for it because your ego, because you know that you're good. You know that you're the best in music. But guess what? The trash artist is going to handle their business because they know they're not good. That's why trash artists always make it and the best artists never do. So if you could put both of those together, if you have good music or decent music and you learn this branding and marketing, you will shoot to the top and be the number one artist in the world. The problem is most artists either have one or they have the other. I personally respect the trash artists most of the time more than I respect the artists with the God-given voice, because the artists with the God-given voice never handle their business. I salute the trash artists. At least they doing the work. At least they're hustling. At least they're educating themselves. At least they're grinding, right? It's business music, not music business. So if you're an artist and you're watching this and you know your music is great, you know that you're extremely talented, I'm telling you, watch that. Watch that. Don't be too talented that you can't learn. Don't be so talented, so caught up in your talent and the ego of it that you're too good to educate yourself. Because if you're that way, you're going to get beat by a horrible artist. But because they did a few things right, here you are listening, looking at the radio and seeing them. Here you are going on Spotify and you're seeing them everywhere. And you're like, how the hell did this person make it? Because that's every artist has that. Every artist who's talented always looks at the game and says, how the hell did this person make it? Well, let me tell you, they handle their brand, they're posting, they're running ads, they're hitting up playlist owners to actually pitch their music. They're doing everything step by step right outside of music. But you just got good music, right? You're in the studio working. Being in the studio is equivalent to a kid going to the playground. That's not work. That's play. The work starts after you record the record. If you give a kid the choice between doing homework and going to the studio, they're going to go to the studio. I said that all wrong. If you give a kid the option of doing their homework or going to the playground, they're going to go to the playground every single time. And that's the problem with you, because you have the choice to do your homework or go to the studio. And the reason why you haven't made it is because you keep making music and going to the studio every single time. Got to educate yourself. You got to build a brand, because nobody is coming to save you. And time is moving by faster. I don't know if you could feel it, but time is moving by faster. We're about to be done with the first quarter. It just feels like a couple of weeks ago, we just kind of brought in the new year. So you got to outpace time. You being in the studio making music, that don't mean nothing. If you're in the studio making good music, if you never handle your business, you're just a talented bum to me. I don't care how good your music sounds. When I find out that you haven't did any of the campaign strategies, you don't have a merch store set up, you didn't handle any of your business, you're just a talented idiot to me. And you're going to get beat by the worst looking and the worst sounding artists in the world, because they handled their business while you were just in the studio making good music. The game ain't based on good music anymore, right? It's based on good business. So I hope this video helped you. I have a school link. I actually have a school that I put together. It's a university, a mentorship. It's called Platinum Level University. If you're an artist watching this and you're struggling and you don't know how to build your brand, you're struggling with the business, you know you got good music, but you want to learn how to market, you want to learn how to promote, you want to learn how to build your fan base up, right? You want to learn how to actually, make 100,000 every single year or more, like a lot of my clients are doing. I'm gonna put the link below so you could join. Get into the mentorship. Like, don't be the person. I'm gonna tell you this before I end this video. I want to address this myth, the I made it on my own myth. Right? Nobody makes it on their own. It's the biggest lie. It's the biggest scam ever told. Because I've worked with almost every platinum artist in the world, and every single one of them stand on the shoulders of their mentor and their team. Yet every independent artist is just grinding at this solo. Beyonce, I've worked with her. She has a mentor. Jay-Z has a mentor. Kanye West had No ID as a mentor. Every single artist had a mentor to actually help them day by day, to mentor them and to guide them. Because that's the only way you get to the top. It takes a team, and you stand on their shoulders. That's why you look up and you see them being number one. You can't get there on your own. And the reason why you haven't made it as an artist is because you're just going at this alone. That ego, that pride does it to you every time. Get in a room with other people who are on the journey, but they're steps ahead of you. People that look like you, artists that look like you, that's making 10, 20, 30,000 or more. But now you're linking up with them. Now you have an accountability partner. Because remember, you don't make money with your first group of friends. You make money with your second group of friends. Your first group of friends, more likely, they're not going to contribute. They're probably going to hold you back. Your first group of friends right now, including the person that you lay down with and having sex with, they're not posting your music every day, I bet. That person that you claim you love, they're not posting your music. That best friend that you have, they're not reposting your music. Right? Because you get the real support and you make the biggest moves with your second group of friends. But you don't have that. Get into the community. Get into Platinum Level University. I'll put a link below this video. I hope it helped. I'm about to be doing a lot of these. See you on the next one.